COVID-19 pandemic, COVID-19 related illness,
been personally vaccinated. I still have a little bit of concern.
1,900 COVID-19 patients.
The vaccine, when it came out, it was in short supply.
Have long urged vaccinations.
Nearly 2,000 people battling COVID-19.
The past year and a half has been something else.
If they only knew what we just went through to get this show started. So really fast as I'm saying, if they only knew. CJ, gotta throw a big quick shout out to you for those IT technical difficulties. So thank you, CJ.
Right on.
CJ. And again, everybody, welcome to another episode of Conspiracies and Mysteries. And before we get started, Troy, it's Steve Hatfield, right? So Steve, If you're out there watching, as you just heard how this show started with technical difficulties, brother, I want to let you know that you are not forgotten. We are still, and I'll point all the blame on myself, still trying to figure out how to figure out these operations. So Steve, hang in there with us, brother. And tonight's topic, Troy, is...
the COVID shot?
Yeah,
I'm just guessing. Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Okay.
Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, to get this started, I want to ask you, because remember, this is an interactive podcast. Do not hesitate to reach out. Were you directly affected by COVID-19? To the point where, one, have you ever gotten it? If you did get it, were you one of those cases where those cases that scared the holy poop out of us? I mean, wasn't it on ventilators, Troy?
Yeah. I mean, it was bizarre. The whole thing was bizarre. Remember, the government gave you money. Remember, they'd put money in your account.
Yeah. Well,
I built an addition on my house for that money. I did.
Well, I was just listening to one of the guys at work. He worked at another car lot, and he was telling me that indeed, that managers were telling the salespeople to get shots, and somebody said, "You know why they're doing that? That they get a cash incentive if you get the shot."
Yeah, I heard that they were making bank on hospitals and so forth if they would change the cause of death or something.
So I did look that up. Because I heard that too. Like if on the death certificate, if it said COVID-19, the hospital would get an extra $10,000.
Yeah.
Folks, we talk about it all the time. We do our due diligence on the show. There was nowhere that I could find that. However, the only thing that I did find was there's evidence that Medicare was paying like an extra 20% for COVID patients to help out
really?
with what was going on.
I see.
So I did hear the same thing.
So that's a myth.
Based on what I could research, yes, it's a myth.
Okay. Because I heard that a lot.
Oh, so did I.
Yeah, I mean, you
know,
didn't know what to believe.
No, as we were all going through this pandemic, we were all learning at the same time.
Yeah.
And then you start hearing those rumors. So then what do we start doing? We start pointing fingers. Oh, the hospitals are getting rich because they get this extra flow.
Yeah. It's amazing how. I mean, I heard that everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know. We had never been involved in a pandemic before. I guess, there was one, back in the early 70s, but I didn't know what to expect, what to think. Every day the numbers were coming back worldwide. Remember, you get on the computer and look at the worldwide numbers, how many deaths and so forth. It was...
scary.
It was very scary. Very scary time.
Nobody knew what to do.
Did you get the shot?
So on that topic, on a personal note...
No, you don't have to answer it.
No, I don't mind answering it. I'm wide open. I'm a book. I did get the shot, but I will tell you I did not want the shot. And when I say I did not want the shot, it wasn't because I knew good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
I was completely uneducated about it. It was just something I thought I had as a right to make that decision.
Yeah.
Now, we already had a vacation planned out of the country. They would not let you travel without a shot.
Without a shot. Yeah.
So I ended up getting a shot. I can't tell you how I feel about that right now. I'm not mad or happy, other than the fact that I was forced.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's not being a U.S. citizen.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to get all political on you. My family, they all got the shot. They were for it.
They get the Pfizer shot or the Johnson & Johnson, or do you know?
I don't know, just whatever the clinic was doing at the time. I really didn't know how to feel about it.
Yeah.
I just knew this. I knew that if this, when we talk about a lot of hearsay, we all kind of join the ship when we hear people talking, just like the hospital extra $10,000 for the death.
Yeah.
What was going through my head, how can we get this newfound disease and already have a cure for it when cancer's been around forever?
Mm-hmm.
So what the heck are you injecting me with,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But what's really cool about today's episode, everybody, I'm talking, what was that, 2019? So 6 years ago, 10 years ago.
No,
Wow,
it was,
6 years ago.
Well,
I don't know the math.
Was it 2020 when it hit?
2009, that's why it's COVID-19, 2019.
Okay,
I just can't do the
2019.
math, yeah. So anyways, what's really interesting as we talk about 2019, to do tonight's podcast, I'm fascinated with science and learning more about the shot.
Mm-hmm. There's still a lot of doctors out there that are trying to figure out the shot. I watched forget the congressman's name. He was absolutely grilling these doctors, and they couldn't answer the questions. And so there's a lot of doctors that don't even know how it works. But he said 2019.
Yes, sir.
I guess we can start there. Are you familiar with the Event 201?
No, sir.
Okay. This was conducted by John Hopkins Center, the World Economic Forum, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. It was a 3.5-hour tabletop trial run, if you will, if a pandemic had occurred. Okay. And it was about a coronavirus that had passed from bats to pigs. Okay. And that was October of 2019. That was right before 2020. And then we had COVID. And I mean, I remember hearing bits of this, back then. And I thought, why would they be doing this Event 201? And then literally within 2 months, we get this novel coronavirus. Did they know?
I think somebody's always in the know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best thing that I can say.
I made some notes here. The National Institute of Health gave Moderna $1.4 billion to develop the vaccine. They lent Moderna its scientists and facilities also. Okay. Now, in the past, the one reason that the R&D takes so long is because these companies like Moderna or Pfizer, whoever, they have to pay out of pocket this stuff. Now, they were getting all this free money, The NIH scientists were Barney Graham, John Muscola, and Kazmikia Corbett. I believe she was a black woman. Helped design the key genetic sequence, and that they should have been on the patent app. Okay. But Moderna said no, they didn't believe that they had anything really to do with it, with the technology. But Moderna is at the time was not really contributing to giving the technology to third world countries and sharing very few doses with poor nations. So it was a patent grab, and they didn't want to give credit to the National Institute of Health, which funded all of it. So the National Institute of Health gave $600,000 for gain of function on bat coronavirus in the Wuhan lab. The grant supported gain of function, but the Wuhan lab gave 0 reports on the results, leading to a pause in funds. Tests resulted in a lab-generated virus that in humanized mice, and that's a mouse that's been bioengineered to mimic human biological characteristics. The lab-generated virus exhibited 100 times higher viral loads in human mice, so they jacked this thing up 100-fold.
Sounds like a comic.
In humanized mice,
yes.
Which humanized mice is you can't even really get past that. But then I think they supersized it to 100 times more viral. It blows my mind what they were doing. with this novel or new
Pandemic.
virus that I think they created or supersized in this lab. So it's the 201 event, and then you find out the back story about Moderna and where the money went and where this virus was worked on. Now, you hear about this live wet market theory, and I remember trying to find out about that when COVID hit, and it never produced an animal, but the COVID virus, or an animal zero, if you will, that could have been the start of it. And I remember hearing or reading up where they had theorized that maybe the bats, because that's where this coronavirus, I guess it come from, had their droppings were eaten by the fish below in this live wet market. Okay, but they never found animal zero, for lack of a better term. So now here's where it gets interesting. The NIH gave the $600,000 to the Eco Health Alliance. Now I don't really know what that is. And then they gave it to the Wuhan lab. Okay. So Fauci, being an employee of the NIH, really can say, well, I didn't give the money, but this Eco Health Alliance did. But they, funded the gain of function in a 5-year study of bat coronavirus. So they'd been studying this for 5 years, So, I mean, you can backdate that. I mean, you're at 2020, so you're 2015, 2014, that they were fooling with this. So they had a big, long time to figure this out and supersize it. Failure to produce or provide records from gain of function studies at Wuhan Lab suspended federal funding. Okay, so that's where the point of origin, I believe, occurred. The fact that you didn't find an animal zero at the wet market, and all of this backstory about what they were fooling with at the Wuhan lab, and then Fauci doesn't lay any claim to funding it because of this. It went through an intermediary, this Eco Health Alliance. You can see where this came from. I mean, it came from this lab. Speaking
of this lab, I want to kind of throw a twist on this because earlier you and I were talking about how simple it is for all of us, everyday people, to kind of go with the rumor that was going around. For example, bringing up hospitals got paid more if the patients died and they were tagged COVID. So we already spoke about that. When this was going on for me, I don't want to say purge, but it was population control. Did you hear any of that?
I'm going to get into that in a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to get into that in a little bit, but I think you're right. I don't know if you remember the Georgia Guidestones. That was their big thing, was depopulation. Okay, and I don't want to get into Bill Gates just yet because I want to savor the what's coming with this guy. But it is. I think it is about
population control.
Population control.
But if that was the case. If it was the case, which I know I'm really going down a rabbit hole here, you and I both said that we were watching daily.
The worldwide numbers.
Yeah, the worldwide numbers. I don't think anybody, even if this was planned, I don't think anybody anticipated that.
It's like, you talk about that. You read up where that was debunked, right? The extra money. What do you believe anymore? I mean, how do you know that thing wasn't made up to counteract the truth? I mean, you can't really know what to believe. The reason I went on a little bit long on the wet market versus the Wuhan lab is because it starts to fall apart here. When they didn't give a report on what they were doing, or the outcomes or anything, and they had to pause the money because of it. I mean, that to me, that's a tell. When they couldn't find animal zero, if you will, that's a tell. So, I just don't know if a cursory perusing of the internet will ever really truly yield a truth unless you dig down a little bit and find things out.
I think that's our every Thursday topic.
Yeah, it is. It is. So we've got a video here that I'd like to show.
All right, you have to tell me which one.
It doesn't matter. They're all.
So let me just.
That's
I'll hit this first one
okay.
here. Let's go here and go. And I hear nothing.
That's great.
I hear nothing. Can you talk about it? I've got the sound bed. I've got the text. So I don't know. We'll have to go back and watch
I
that.
think we just need to change the name of our show to Hee Haw.
All right, we're gonna go back to camera one, and maybe I'll work on that at commercial break.
Well, anyway,
people will keep dying, keep being extremely ill, probably be infertile, affected in all kinds of different ways for years and years, I'm afraid. And people have to kind of accept that thing took place. And anybody who was involved at any kind of high level with making that happen is not your friend.
beginning of that, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. What he's basically saying is that this event, there's more bad things to come because of the shot. And basically they knew from the get-go what they were doing and what it was going to do. And if they could sprinkle out the deaths throughout the years coming up, and they could mask it as, it's blood clots, or it's heart failure, or it's this, that, or the other. And I didn't know how to get into this tonight, but I'm going to get into it. I told you a couple shows ago that I was sick for about 2.5 years.
Yeah, you did.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
I never get sick. I mean, I really don't. And, I try and exercise. I mean, being a landscaper, I'm always physical. And this happened about 3 months after I got the second shot. And I never really, the whole time, I never even considered that was because of that until I started getting into some of this research. I'm trying to just skip through. I mean, I went to so many doctors, Brian. You wouldn't believe the amount of doctors I went through, and I kept getting the same results. Well, I can't find anything here. I said, look at my blood levels. Look at the RBCs, the hemoglobin, the hematocrit. I mean, it kept always trending down. Okay, I remember I'd go from room to room, from chair to chair, and I thought I was dying, man. I just thought, I'm dying. And so then I started researching. So I also tested the first test they test when you get into something like this is one of the things they do is test for, I was positive for lupus. I mean, the first test, I was positive for lupus. I thought, man, I'm getting a little old for that. I mean, there were, and not to get into science, the medicine, because I don't know anything about the right terminology, but my blood cells were not correctly shaped. My body was consuming red blood cells faster than my bone marrow could make it. Okay, and that was the first time I got involved with AI, because I was asking every night. I would ask questions. What about this? What about that? And so my blood levels were down. I was fatigued. It looked like maybe I had lupus. Okay, turns out I didn't. But all these things, man, and for 2.5 years, when you're sick for 2.5 years, and no one can tell you, and I can't tell you how many doctors I went to. I don't mean just general. I mean all kinds of special doctors, and I would get angry with them. I would say, you know what, you're not paying attention here.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you guys, for those that don't know Troy, I've known Troy for almost 3 decades now. This guy, like he said, he's a landscaper. Anytime I try to talk to him, he can't talk because he's at the gym. So why am I bringing this up? Because we are talking a very healthy individual, and this is kind of a loop for me, because I went on here and I asked anybody if they had COVID, and you're sharing your testimony, which I appreciate that, but yeah, it's scary. 2.5 years, someone who pays attention.
Who gets
to
better
himself.
after 2.5 years? Who gets better? I thought, I guess, we're not guaranteed any days. I was already in the throes of accepting my death. I mean, it was, I'm telling you what, it was the worst thing in my life. The absolute worst. Had I known years ago that was coming down the road, I would have done anything to avoid it. I mean, it was a car wreck every day for 2.5 years. And then what was bad about it, people didn't believe you were sick. They didn't believe you were sick. You're out walking around, you feel like hell.
Right.
And they don't, every time we say it, I don't think they believe it. I think there's family members to this day that don't believe I was sick.
So here's what's crazy, and I want to do this because I know we got to go to a commercial break.
But
It's okay because I really appreciate you sharing your experience. But I want to share something with you because I know when we get back from commercial, we're going to touch more about the things that got me hype about the science. But when I was a kid, I always used to tell people, we all have cancer. We all have cancer in our body. It just takes something to activate it. Now, when I was saying that was with no knowledge. I was not good in school. It was just something I always said that we're all born with it. It's just something happens that triggers it, and you get it, right? Yeah. So when we get back from these commercials, I really think you're going to find it interesting about what you and I are going to present about the COVID shot. We'll be right back.
At Marquette Catholic High School, tradition is more than a word. It's a way of life. From championship athletics to community service, from lifelong friendships to faith-filled values, Marquette students carry a legacy of excellence. Together, we build a stronger community on the field, in the classroom, and beyond. Marquette Catholic, where tradition meets tomorrow. Visit MarquetteCatholic.org and see why Marquette is the right choice for your family.
You won't find a better health club than Nautilus Fitness Center. More cardio, more free weights and equipment, more classes, a swimming pool, and more. If you're serious about your health and want to make a change, then stop thinking about it and visit Nautilus Fitness Center on Industrial Drive in Alton. Don't fall for the hype you get from the other health clubs. Nautilus is the Riverbend's premier health club. Has been for years and will be for years to come. Get to Nautilus Fitness Center and get started on a healthier new you.
So we're back, but you know what? Well, here's what we do. Let's go ahead and just start with a video before we do this. I'm actually going to start with the one that actually caught my attention, Troy. Okay. So let's hit it.
Interfacing with the shots, it's true. DARPA research and the operational programs to infect us with remote controllable prion clusters in the brain before they even rolled out COVID. I just got chills. This is so evil. I mean, this is how you take over. You colonize people. You implant everybody with these, whether you've had the shot or not. It's everywhere. You get these proteins growing in you. They hit you with the frequency, and it looks like you died of a stroke. Man, this is bad.
Well, isn't that kind of what you were talking about, Troy?
Yeah.
That it's planned?
I didn't even pick up on that prion clusters until just now.
Same here.
But, the prion clusters are interesting. Do you know what those are?
No, tell me.
They are these things. I don't really know how to describe it, but you can't kill them. You can't nuke them. You can't boil them. You can't blow them away. They just persist. Okay. Now I learned about these prions back when you remember mad cow disease.
Yeah.
Okay. It just kind of went away, did it? Well, I think what they did is and I don't want to get on the subject too much, but they were grinding up these infected cows and I think turning them into dog food. And but these prions, they were in the bones. People were dying from this. Okay, from the prion clusters. And I remember reading a story about this guy in Montana that there was a dude ranch, and at the end of the season they would have a big party, right? Well, and they would eat the deer, whatever game they have out there. But this animal wasting disease is the same thing. What it does, these prions get in your brain and gives you what they call an encephalopathy. Basically eats your brain to where it looks like a sponge. Okay? That's what these prions do, and you die from it. Well, this guy died from these eating the deer or whatever. But what they were doing, this stuff, they would grind up his bone. You can make, like if someone has an operation and put a patch in the skull, if it has the prions in the bone, you'll get the encephalopathy and you'll die from it. They were reporting the causation of a lot of this, that these people were dying from. Also, it's also in the covers of pills and so forth. When you take a pill, it's got a shiny coating on it. Mm-hmm. Well, that's a gelatin from melted down bone. And so how many people died mysteriously, and they never trace it back to this encephalopathy from the prions?
So it's kind of like that video. What intrigues me about that video, of course, there's a commentary over the video, but that had to happen, right? I mean, that wasn't AI footage. That's showing
people were dropping off, man. And what he's talking about is this notion out there, and I'm just, you don't believe everything we're talking about tonight, folks, but there are some truth nuggets in here. They're saying there's a whole theory out there that says that this COVID shot, the nanoparticles got in, and these nanoparticles tell what proteins to build. Okay. Now Fauci said that this mRNA shot just stayed in the arm, but it doesn't just stay in the arm. It goes all over your body. Okay. Do you remember when people were getting strokes, heart, blood clots, that sort of thing? You remember that?
Yeah.
They were getting myocarditis. That's because this was settling in places it shouldn't have settled in, like your heart, causing inflammation.
So that's why I had to stand up, because here's the part of the topic that I wanted to kind of discuss and share with everybody, because I had some confusion, and because I was confused, I kind of want to share it. You just said nanoparticles.
Right.
And I don't remember what episode, but we were actually talking about nanobots.
Right.
And folks, if some of you don't know what this is, let me just kind of share this with you, because this is where I find science absolutely fascinating. Nanobots are micro robots. This is legit. Micro robots that could fit into a single cell in the human body. Now, here's the difference. Nanobots do exist, but they don't exist, that's confirmed, injected from the COVID-19.
Right.
Okay? But nanobots, just so you guys can be made aware right now, nanobot, a matter of fact, I remember, it was fertility. We were watching a video where nanobots would go in to help people who struggle to get pregnant.
Like the lazy sperm.
Yes, it would help the lazy sperm and drive that sperm into the ovaries to help.
Into the egg.
To the egg, to get fertility.
Right.
So that actually exists. So again, let me tell you this again. A robot, a micro robot that will fit into a single cell in your body. That's to come.
Yeah.
Now, to clarify, when we talk about COVID-19, we're talking about nanoparticles.
Nanoparticles.
So I had to ask myself, what the heck is if a robot is designed to carry out instructions, what the heck's a particle? I mean, a particle is like if I shove my hair back and particles fly out of my hair. But actually, these particles also serve a purpose. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of what you said before about the capsule.
Right.
That these particles are like surrounded in fat. Mm-hmm. And when injected into the body, they actually do have a mission.
That's right.
And this is what's crazy about science. How? How can a particle, it just amazes me, the human body.
It's amazing. But they, you had so much there, I'm trying to remember what you did to pick up on. But after this COVID, though, the nanoparticles, I don't know if they've left our bodies. I don't know. Now, they say they have, that they fall out or lose, they go out after about a week or so. But when Fauci said that it just stays in your arm, and then there's proof that it's in your heart, like myocarditis, in your blood, in your veins, with the blood clots, that sort of thing. So either they didn't know or they lied about it. Because you can't deny, you don't have to be a conspiracy theorist to realize the death events that occurred from the blood clots from the COVID vaccine. I know people that died from that, I don't know.
Prayers to those and their families.
Yeah, a dear friend of mine's mother died from that.
Very sensitive topic.
But anyway, I want to tell you something interesting here. They don't know if it alters your DNA or not. I don't believe these people. When I was researching this COVID, I inadvertently, instead of putting in 19, I put in 20. And then there was something about COVID-20. And I thought, so I just kept punching in numbers. And there was always something about COVID with any other number you punched in. And it reminded me of the early days where you could take any number at all and punch it in with COVID, and it would say 777 deaths reported, for COVID. It just didn't matter what number you put in. Something didn't make sense about that. But anyway, the altered DNA is up for grabs. But here's what's interesting about this, okay? Now, we can agree that these nanorobots are coming.
Yes,
okay?
I would agree with that.
And they're going to tout them as lifesavers for people and do all these great things, okay? But do you know that they've got a name for this, okay? It's called Homo borgenesis. So in other words, if you are a transhuman, you become a property of the patent holders of the device that they put in you. Did you know that? And that's backed up by the Supreme Court.
No, the only thing I was bringing up is I know that you had a video similar to that, but the thing that blows my mind when we talk about, we can agree that that's about to come.
Mm-hmm.
Folks, I don't know if you're taking this seriously or not. But
it sounds crazy.
It does sound crazy, but it's legit
mm-hmm.
to where they're even talking about. So what it is these micro robots, they're coded, and they're saying with an Xbox controller.
Yes, I think we've got a video of that.
Well, I don't know how far. Let's go over here. We were talking about the transhumans. Let me at least just kind of start with that one while we were on it.
Proven. Supreme Court of the United States.
He does like a whole court docket here.
/www.supremecort.gov. 7D period PD.
Yeah, that's how long that website
goods,
is.
according to U.S. law, no longer human. Through a modified DNA or RNA vaccination. The mRNA vaccination, the person ceases to be human and becomes the owner of the holder of the modified gen vaccination patent, because they have their own genome and are no longer human, without natural people in parentheses, but transhuman.
So, folks, when you're hearing that, what Troy just said, it almost sounds humorous because I got the smile on my face, but that's not.
That's real. If you don't believe me about the U.S. Supreme Court ruling on that, look up the pacemakers, okay? Because they gathered from this pacemaker case that indeed the patients who receive patented medical interventions do become patented goods as a result of their product.
So when you sign this, does anybody go over this fine print? I mean, think about that.
All I remember is when I got the shot that you had to sign a waiver.
You had to sign a waiver.
I couldn't believe that. And so you don't hold them liable. But this transhuman idea here, I kept thinking about, it seems like under the Biden administration, everyone was in love with this trans, everything. Everything was trans, right? So, is this where we're going? You've got the U.S. Supreme Court.
In my research, I did see Biden everything. Biden versus Missouri, Biden versus this. Yeah. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, really fast. Troy always wants this show to be a thinking man show. So I just want to interrupt really fast. And I want to bring this up to you. like you, like myself, we put in that work week, okay? We do our due diligence. We want to bring home a paycheck. We spend as much family time as we can. Troy's at the gym. And we're living life. But are we really stopping without this show to truly know what's coming down the pipeline? When I talk about nanobots, I mean, I knew nothing about science, and I am extremely fascinated that you could have a micro robot in a single cell. Now, again, like Troy was sharing with you, these micro robots are designed to improve so much.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many topics. But are you paying attention to what Troy just shared with you, that you could look this up legally?
Yeah.
So if a patent item gets injected into your body, you now become
the patented goods of the patent holder.
Bro.
So you don't get to enjoy the natural human rights that you enjoyed prior.
You become a human guinea pig.
So you can be bought and sold. It's men playing God. It's men playing God.
I mean, I want to type this in. Is anybody understanding what we're saying here?
Listen, it blew me away to even broach this subject, because I think our last show we touched on it a little bit, because I had picked up a little bit of this on the show we were doing before, and all I kept thinking is, oh my gosh, everyone's so worried about the mark of the beast, and oh man, but no one ever thought about it already being in our bodies through the COVID shot, and even through other means, other shots,
Sure.
They got this product called Luciferase. I don't know if you've heard of that.
I was reading up on it.
Bill Gates is in love with this. Okay, I have no respect for Bill Gates whatsoever. I remember when he was, in the height of COVID, that, who was that talk show guy at night, Colbert? He was asking Bill Gates, he said, so when is it okay that we can come out? When can we come out now? When can we? And they're talking to Bill Gates like he is this world-renowned doctor or something. Bill Gates is a man that bought a software program. He didn't even invent it, okay? He just bought a software program, Microsoft. And now people are asking him when it's safe to come outside. I looked hard for that, what was that, One World Inside at Home or whatever. Remember that show that came on, the Rolling Stones, and the drummer, before he died, he was playing the air drums? You remember that?
I don't.
It was nothing to do, so we just watched TV. And Bill Gates walks out there like he's a rock star. And he is swishing around, and he's telling people, and like it's like, oh, finally, now I've got my moment here. And I looked everywhere for that, because I wanted to show it tonight, because I have no respect for him. And, but speaking of Bill Gates, now, because I think he's in love with population control, okay?
We talked about, there's where you're going with it.
I think that's what he's doing. I think this whole thing is about population control, okay? I think, people are either going to gradually die off, or fall over or whatever when they get turned on from this Luciferase, which he's got this idea. He had a patent submission, and it was patent 060606. Okay, weird. And but the idea was to put a transdermal spike, protein spike. They're in love with this spike. It's like virus worship. Put it on your hand. It assimilates right into your skin. It never comes out. You've got all your medical records and everything.
The chip they were on
the skin, and it never comes out. And they tout it as a something to do with Bitcoin or whatever, where it shows that you did the work and you can mine the coins or whatever it is. But he got turned down on it. But they're in love with the spike protein. I mean, this spike protein as a transdermal, people that aren't in the know can say, oh, this is pretty good. Instead of getting a shot, they just put this transdermal on it. It never leaves your body.
I got this rabbit hole right now that I guess I'm going to start from the show, Troy. The economy is struggling. There's no doubt about it. In 2008, some of you guys don't know this, but I own a car lot and I do a lot of financing. In 2008 was a pivotal year, and I used to talk to people about how credit worked. Your upper class, your middle class, your lower class. Now we're in 2026, and I'm not just saying it because people are feeling it. Where's the middle class? Now I'm going somewhere with this.
Yeah.
I'm going somewhere with this. You either have it or you don't, or you're just really, really hanging on right now. Now, again, I might sound like I'm going off topic here, folks, but maybe here's the rabbit hole. Aren't people selling plasma? So you got people walking off the streets.
Yeah.
They're getting money for plasma, okay? We're talking about these spikes and these injections and different things. And more importantly, let me raise your awareness. Anything you do moving forward, whether it be plasma, the COVID shot during the pandemic, if you have to sign a waiver, get out your bifocals and read that before you do it. Because
that's right.
What we're sharing with you today, folks, it is proven. This is not hearsay. It is proven. Court documentation will confirm what I'm saying. With the struggling economy right now, I really feel it. New things coming out. Everybody's lining up because you're getting paid X amount of money to do this. Now, of course, does anybody paint you an ugly picture? No.
No, not at all.
They give you all the highlights, the grass is
That's
greener, right?
Yeah.
And then those cons are in the fine print when you sign your John Hancock or Mary, whatever. And then, ladies and gentlemen, when you sign that, it is proven you are signing your rights away to this patent.
You know, I had a couple thoughts on this. Could we in the future be looking at an injectable computer system?
I want to say yes, because I think the thought process is already there. It's just not been approved.
We know from the COVID shot that things went awry that they hadn't banked on, or maybe they did and knew it. But regardless, things went awry with the blood clots and these turbo cancers that seem to rapidly increase at an aggressive rate after the COVID shot. Lots of those out there in the books. So I just thought about that. And then I thought, coming in, I thought, in Revelation in the Bible, they talk about these evil sores that will appear on men, and men will wish for death and it doesn't come. I always thought that maybe that was some kind of a deliverance from God, something that God has done to these evil people. But what if we do it to ourselves and death doesn't come because people want to live forever with this injectable computer system?
What do you think about the rabbit hole theory I'm thinking about? Look at where the economy's at today. What are we willing to do? What are we willing to sacrifice to make ends meet?
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Here, if you steal and you rob and you do this, you go to jail. You don't really have much of an outcome.
Well, it depends. If you're in Seattle and you attack ICE agents and you get 4 felonies, it all gets turned over.
But you see where I'm going at with this, with
I know
the
where you're
struggling
going.
economy, with the medicine, the pharma. You just said it yourself. You have no respect for Bill Gates, but he's a software guy. Well, who's got the means?
He's not a doctor. What's he doing? I mean, what's he doing? I'm gonna tell you. He's got people believing, he's got people believing that he's not in the business of population control, and he's got people believing that he's actually done the research and found out that as because he says he wants to help people with their health, right? So as the health goes up, people think, well, my God, there'd be overpopulation, right? That'd be a natural thing, right? All these people on the planet. He says that what actually happens is that the birth rates will start to go down as the health goes up. Okay? Now, I don't know where he gets this information, but he's peddling this. He peddled it, his wife peddled it on 60 Minutes, and I just watched a video tonight about it. So I'm thinking, this guy is acting like he's a savior, but what he's really doing, he's into population control, because I know for a fact, like the Black Death, that was like the biggest plague in the world, okay? It wiped out so many people, okay? The population didn't go up. It went down. So for him to think that he can somehow manipulate the population, acting like he's doing good things, is a joke. It's a complete joke.
Well, and again, so those who tuned in, and yes, the topic was COVID-19, but listen, I truly hope if you're just joining the show now, that you go back and watch this, because I told you it was going to get intense. And if we don't have you thinking right now, I'm not sure what to say. But Troy, guess what? We got to go to a commercial break, and we'll be right back.
I set the thermostat so my house would be warm when I got home from work, but the kitchen is still cool.
At Barrett Heating and Cooling, we stand behind every Linux system we sell.
My dealer said he'd take care of everything.
At Barrett Heating and Cooling, we understand everyone wants prompt professional service.
Turns out it wasn't my furnace after all, just a little something blocking the vents.
Pretty smart dog if you ask me. For service you can count on, call Barrett Heating and Cooling.
Lennox, innovation never felt so good.
At Landmark Realty, we're proud to serve the Riverbend area with offices in Godfrey and Jerseyville. Whether you're buying your first home or your forever home, our team is here to guide you every step of the way. And if you're ready to start your dream business, we can help you find the perfect commercial property. Visit us today at godfreylandmark.com. Landmark Realty, serving the Riverbend and serving you.
Macias Insurance Agency, providing quality products with extremely competitive prices. As an independent provider, we source multiple companies to offer the best rates possible, covering auto, home, business, and life insurance. Our goal is to provide quality service that meets and exceeds customer expectations. You can rest easy knowing the Macias team is working around the clock to ensure that both you and the most important parts of your life are covered. Our qualified professionals make the insurance process easy so you can live carefree and focus on what matters most. Visit MaciasInsuranceAgency.com today to find out what our team can do for you.
And we're back, and I'm going to go to a video, but as I do, I just got to share with you, if you're just now tuning in, that before commercial was probably one of the most intense Thursday episodes we have. Folks, it's a reality check. Let's take a peek at this, and then we'll get right back to it, okay? Woo, I'm getting wound over here. All of a sudden, I'm becoming a science guy.
Conspiracy theorist type topic. But if you look at where we're at today with the nanotech, we now know that this is conspiracy fact. There's a gentleman by the name of Dr. Ido Bachelet. In 2013, he gave a TED-Med talk in Israel. He's holding up a 1cc syringe, and he's saying, I just brought this from my lab. And then the tip of this needle are 1,000 billion robots, 2,000 times the width of a human hair. Not only does he brag about these robots being in the syringe, talks about how it's a benefit to humanity. And I would agree with him in one aspect. Technology in and itself is not good or bad. It's who is in control of the technology. He also expresses to the audience how these nanorobots basically are designed to be controlled by computer code, various
Dude, that's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah. There was a gal that I talked about briefly on the last show, and this gal is convinced that this has already happened, okay? And they can control, well, like what just saw on InfoWars, with the control of a button. I mean, they can activate, turn you off, do whatever they want to do.
So it starts making me think about all these movies, you know, like when you watch the movies and they open up this garage door and there's like hundreds of robots and you click a button and the red lights click on.
Yeah.
What are the robots?
That's right.
I mean, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just tuning in, which is towards the end of the show, I'm telling you, rewind it 15 minutes ago. This is intense.
You know, we were talking about earlier about what to believe, because remember you said that the thing was debunked about the about the doctors getting COVID money after the death. And it made me think about this little part that I'd written down. I was doing an op-ed. I was looking at, because I don't believe everything that I see or read. But there was this bit about...
you sure you didn't believe that Truss was the most handsome man on earth? That was next in line for GQ from George Clooney?
Oh, was that you? I thought that was your brother.
Back to the podcast.
But this nanotech, they said, is it fact or fiction or whatever? And they, because I contend it stays in your body. And they were saying, oh, no, you can't stay in your body. This is a news piece, right? And I think Channel 5 did it for a while. Is it fact or fiction? And Mike Bush and the green screen and some gal with nice ladies would walk around and they would point to something and they would say it's a myth or something. Did you ever see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice ladies on the gal. But so they were talking about this nanotech, and it was like, I don't know, in Kentucky, this news, and then there was another one that was in some other part of the country, and I thought, this is the same story. This is the same story so Joe Blow didn't call this news station and say, hey, what about this? Because, I mean, he lives out in Nevada too, from this other news station. But they said about this nanotech, they said that it's false because there's no battery, right? But they forget that we're electric beings. We all run on a low voltage or low amperage, right? We create electricity, and that's what they run on.
That's a fact.
Yeah, that's what they run on. So for them to say, well, there's no battery, and people say, oh yeah, I knew it was a myth. But they don't think that we are electric.
Well, why otherwise would we be promoting sports drinks with electrolytes?
Right.
You got to replenish your electrolytes.
I couldn't believe they got by with that big whopper of a lie.
You know, again, a lot of you guys, the topic of the show was COVID-19. Again, just to reiterate, you just watched a video with us. And it wasn't even talking about injection. They were talking about at the tip of the needle.
And how many were in there? 1,000 or something like
100. Again, I don't want to say, let's just say thousands. But you're talking about smaller than your hair. One strand of hair.
Yeah. This is where it's going, though. I mean, we have to, even whatever stage of belief you're in, this is where...
Do we have to do another show on the Antichrist? Because now I'm starting to think.
Well, think about it. Okay, I always say I marvel at God's work, not man's work. Okay, this is man's work.
This is man's work.
And there's so many people that love, this sort of thing, and they tout all the great benefits and this and that, and it reminds me of, some of the things you have to do to get into some of these cults, because you'll have this, you'll have that, but you have to make a soul pact with the devil. And I don't think, listen, man, there's so many people, half of America doesn't work. Half of America does not have a full-time job. So we want something that's easy. We don't want to really work for it. And if we can live forever, oh, that sounds good, just this chip or whatever, that sounds great. And we marvel at it. But there's always what in life is there not a price for? I mean, you pay for absolutely everything in this life. And
on top of paying for it, you got to pay taxes too.
Yeah, but I mean, the cost of wisdom is age, right?
Sure.
I mean, so a lot of these young people...
I've always said time is money.
Yeah, I mean, but they think that this is so sexy. And
it goes back to what I'm sharing with you. All this pharma or whatever terminology you want to use, you have all these people at their mercy because you just said half of them aren't working, but you got to get money somehow. Yeah. So, hey, why not join this survey? Why not join this test project we got going on? Ladies and gentlemen, let me say it again if you didn't hear it about 10 minutes ago. If it requires a signature, you best believe you better be reading that.
Right. I totally
So
agree.
this is one of the shows where you only thought COVID-19, maybe you didn't think anything interesting from it. I'm telling you that I want to shoot a video because trying to keep somebody's attention for an hour is very tough these days. But I'm telling you, those reels and those clips we're doing, if I'm able to share the court documentation that tells you when you sign, you become somebody else's part of their patent project.
You are no longer, you don't have human rights as we know them. And again, if you think I'm making this stuff up, check out the pacemaker case that was presented to the Supreme Court. I wish I had a year on that. It was like 4 or 5, 6 years ago. And they determined that you become a product of that patent. That you are at that point a homoborgenesis. That is a combination of human and cyborg.
Right. Now I can get like some things, fatal accident, your organs get tested for different things, but this is on a completely different level where you're signing. This is like the devil went down to Georgia. You're selling your soul. I mean, this is real.
This is the devil went down to the hospital, or something.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not engaging on this show, I mean, I'm okay. Maybe this might be a little self-centered. I'm telling you, I am absolutely mind blown. Anywhere from a robot that could fit inside a single human cell. And then, ladies and gentlemen, again, I'm being so repetitive because I'm mind blown. I don't know what else to say, but it's proven. You heard it right here on this podcast. You are signing your rights away. And we're almost going to have to
You may be signing your death wish, too.
Well, that's kind of, right. Well, when you go to the nanobots, because they are saying that is controllable, but the particles are...
Remember that movie Soylent Green? Charlton Heston. It's people, it's all people. You don't remember that? From 74. Anyway, there was one scene in there. I mean, it's like life is awful. There's not enough food, and you're eating this green little biscuit all the time. And there's some people that can opt out of it. So at the last minutes of your life, you sit in front of the screen and you see all these big, beautiful, wonderful things. Okay, and it's really supposed to be exciting and wonderful and beautiful, but then you die. So, and it's also like, Raiders, where they open up the Ark of the Covenant. Oh, it's beautiful, and there's blood. I mean, humans, we think we're so savvy and we're so smart, and we seem to make very stupid, dumb mistakes.
Don't use the word entitled.
Well, there's a lot of entitlement out there too, but I've never seen in my life a generation that is so cosmetic, so slick, so every kid's got these turbo Terminator 5000 glasses on. I mean, I've never seen so much vanity, and to me, that's the devil, man.
Swag.
Yeah.
So listen, ladies and gentlemen, truly, if you've watched this episode live, or you're back and you're watching this because we told you to go back and watch this, Troy and I truly want to hear from you. One, do you believe us? Because again, I'm going to tell you something. When we come at you, we do our due diligence. Would it be easy to fabricate and boost the ratings up to tell you everything you want to hear? We don't do that. We really do our research. We're careful with our words. So we are telling you.
You're more careful than I am.
Yeah.
Because I just piss a whole bunch of people off about the classes, but.
That's right, that's swag. But we're telling you the truth. So listen, we only got a couple minutes here, a few minutes here. All I can do is tell you, coming from Troy and Trust, if you're truly getting paid to donate or to do this test pilot, and it's requiring a signature, can I encourage you to read that?
Mm-hmm.
Even though that money is so shiny, like Troy said, even though it's right in front of you, and if you do this, here's $50, and even if it's $10,000, whatever that monetary value is your life worth it? That's really what you got to ask yourself.
Yeah, and I mean, who covets anything more than their health and procurement of life? This is the very thing that they could get by with. I mean, it's not like yesterday I was going to pull the trigger on a $1,500 thing that I didn't need. I almost did it. But when it comes to your health, dude, you're going to be signing anything to stay alive, So I don't know really what the end game is other than control. This is all about population control, and I believe it is control of, I think it's the rise of the Antichrist. And I've said that on other shows before, but this transdermal spike protein that goes into your body and never leaves, and they use a luciferase that illuminates your skin. I mean, that is, to me, that's the mark of the beast.
And we talked about that, ladies and gentlemen. But listen, we're out of time.